live. I am joined this week because we had some train issues. I think was Vaughn just struggling to drive the train? Is that what he does between? Is he just not like a good driver of the
Yeah.
train?
He usually drive trains 9 to 5, and then he comes here and work at NBC. So he had to pull a double shift tonight. But Vaughn, we miss you, man. Drive that train back soon, buddy.
He might be joining us if he can get the train parked in time. He might be joining us at 7:30, 7:45 ish, so we hopefully can still get his takes. But if not, we've called in backup. Johnny VTV on Twitter, you have joined us. You are bringing the picks, you are bringing the heat, and as always, myself at Kyle Tweets here and Lord Don't Lose. I think, do we have a feeling that this may finally be a good Thursday night football game? I'm afraid to admit it, but the Ravens have been a bit of a pass funnel. Their secondary, though they've tried to make improvements, still a pretty bottom tier secondary in terms of the actual production they've given up. They're like 26th in passing yards allowed. I think they're almost exactly the same in EPA per play allowed. And of course, I have no real fears. The public is maybe afraid of Lamar, like in terms of they're slumping a bit.
Yeah.
Lawrence, are they actually slumping? Is this a thing that is like, oh, it's 2-3 bad games, or is this a legitimate? There are problems in Baltimore. Let's start with that.
It's a weird game, right? Because you kind of feel the same way about both of these teams coming in. Like, these is two teams we dealing with here that we wouldn't be shocked that they only had one loss to this point. Both offenses have been struggling. The Bucs offense, just based on who they've played the past couple of weeks, the Panthers, the Steelers, and not being able to get anything going. The Ravens here in the passing game, but some interesting wrinkles in this game, including injuries, could make this one interesting. The biggest thing I'll say about this game, which is really weird, and I want to hear what Johnny says about this, was the swing on the favorite here. What was
I was
it? The
going to ask about this
Ravens.
too.
The Ravens were a 1.5 favorite a day and a half ago. Now they're 2.5 point dogs here. So but then we see the injuries that the Bucs are suffering on defense too. So it's kind of making me think, like, who is this going to? Is this a night for the public, or is the Bucs just gonna roll? How you feeling about that, Johnny?
All right, so let's first off start that I think Vaughn said that the train workers are on strike. They called the Wildcat strike, so that's why he's having trouble right now with some inconveniences there. But in terms of the spread, let's look at this. The Bucs were actually minus 2.5 points. Then they went all the way up to plus 2.5 with the injuries. Then over the course of the last couple of days, they're coming back down to +2 or -2 or +2, I'm sorry, down to -2. So it's been a lot of teeter-totter movement, seesaw. And you mentioned it, the injuries. I think ultimately, though, the Sharps are all over the Bucs tonight because Tom Brady hasn't lost 3 straight games since 2002. So I think when you look at it, they're thinking there's no way Tampa Bay is going to lose 3 in a row. Because guess what happens if Tampa Bay loses tonight and Carolina beats the Falcons on Sunday?
Yeah,
Those
first place.
Carolina Panthers are the first place sitting right now. And if you're the Ravens, you lose tonight and the Bengals win, they're in first place. And guess what? They can still beat the Browns without Jamar Chase. That's a big loss, but the Bengals got enough firepower to overcome that. So it's two huge, important sides of the coin.
Yeah,
Both
definitely.
teams need a victory.
Yeah, like you said, in terms of Sharps getting on Tampa Bay, we've seen 65% of the actual bets placed on the Ravens, only 54% of the money. So that tells you at least the tickets that are coming in on the Bucs, a little bit higher dollar. And yeah, the line movement was really weird because both these teams were dealing with a lot of injuries at one point or another, and both of them kind of still are. In terms of the Bucs, they're missing both starting corner Sean Murphy-Bunting, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield in the secondary. That's probably the bulk of Akeem Hicks on the defensive line as well. So their defense
is he officially out?
He was officially ruled out when I think it may be earlier today, but I saw inactives just came out.
Because I know the DBs was all out and Akeem Hicks was questionable.
I think he was officially downgraded out earlier today, but I do have the inactives pulled up, and he's officially out as of now. So he is also out. But then we had a bunch of really weird stuff with the Ravens, on the other hand, where Mark Andrews, it happens for sure. But DNP, a full week of not practicing to play, I'd say probably, what do you think, 90% of the time a player who triple DNPs is just not playing. Like, it's so hard to go from not
and then it's the short week too.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a bad week to be triple DNP, and yet here we are. I haven't. Yeah, he's active tonight, and so is Rashad Bateman, who I think got downgraded to a DNP in the middle of the week, but that seemed more of the maintenance coming back from the foot issue. So the Ravens were like, I mean, when you look at Mark Andrews' numbers, right? When you look at Mark Andrews' numbers, it's very clear that based on his weighted opportunity rating, his share of the air yards and share of the targets, he is as important to this passing attack as someone like Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp are to their respective teams.
Right.
Like, he is not just, oh, he's a good tight end. He gets a lot of the work. If you called him a receiver, his numbers would look like that of an elite receiver. So if they were to lose him, obviously they technically didn't lose him for this game. They kind of lost him for the last game, though. He was held out a catch for, I think, either the first or second time in his career. So we're saying they didn't lose him, but I guess, Lawrence, let me throw it to you. After what we saw last week, is there actually a concern? I mean, there has to be a concern that he is like not even close to healthy.
Yeah, especially with the, like you just mentioned, the DNPs, man. Another thing too, the Ravens only threw the ball 16 times last game, and I don't think Lamar Jackson was happy about that. You heard Harbaugh telling him, sometimes you just got to win the game another way. They scooted out there, they squeaked the win out, but and you got to expect that the Buccaneers. They gonna send the fire at them. They blitzing all day. No defensive backs. The way they're gonna help those defensive backs is blitzing. I saw a stat today that the first 3 weeks, Lamar Jackson's QB rating versus the blitz was 99, weeks 1 through 3. After that, it's been 23. So the Bucs, with no defensive backs and knowing that stat, they're coming after him. But at the same time, the Ravens are going to want to throw the ball more in this game. So Mark Andrews has to be a factor. If he's in there, he has to be a factor. Gus Edwards, he was also questionable for this game. Along with Marlon Humphrey. All these guys are playing, including Ronnie Staley. So the Ravens will have, a lot of their guys. So with the Bucs missing guys, that's why the spread, what it is right now, is confusing and how late it changed, even within a couple of hours. Because Johnny, wasn't it? It was probably the Bucs was probably a 1.5 favorites just a few hours ago. Am I right?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, it's been pinballing, all day for the last few days. As a matter of fact, we've been getting more and more injuries. Even Julio Jones. Finally, our boy Don Julio gets ruled in. We get to see him in action.
Please play more than 10 snaps. Please, God.
Hey, he going off for 100 tonight. Then we ain't going to see him again.
I hope so, man. I hope so. But the thing I want to know about Mark Andrews, and obviously Andrews has been one of the best tight ends in football the last year and a half. He did not practice at all this week, as you alluded to. Do you think this week he might be a decoy? Because even though Tampa's a bottom 12 defense against tight ends and catches and yards, and Andrews can go off at any given time, he's just not right. And the fact that Baltimore is not throwing the ball right now, they're trying to find another way to win. They're down a lot of guys in their defensive backfield. Do you think he's full go, or he's more of a decoy and similar to what they did last week against Cleveland?
I think he plays the full complement of snaps. He played 88% of snaps last week, which is pretty much in line with what he does every week. He comes close to 100. I don't think he's gotten every single snap so far, but it's really about, like, is he physically able to create separation, cause targets? And one thing that is a bit concerning is that, and I think if you're either season long or DFS, like a pretty shorthand, especially like if you're not, paying for projections or something, a pretty good shorthand is just go to player props, because that's going to mirror closely to what you see in like fantasy season long or DFS projections. Mark Andrews at 50.5 receiving yards, he's gone under this number twice this year, and he's averaging so much beyond it if you throw out last week's 0-yard game. So it seems like the number would be heavily weighting that 0-yard game. And to be fair, more recent data should have a stronger weight to it. But the fact that he's pretty much crushed this number in all but 1 week before last week, it tells me that the books are at least hedging against the idea that he is full on Mark Andrews. Because even though we saw the Ravens offense slumping, they lost the Giants and they had a very sort of sloggy type of 19-7 win over the Bengals, he crushed this number. He doubled it in one of those 2 games and was 30 some odd yards ahead of it in the other one. So the line at what I say was 50.5 or 52.5, 50.5, even money or even juice on both sides. It tells me the books are concerned, or at least that's what BetMGM has.
So what that should tell you, and it should answer my question.
Yes.
Obviously the books are wrong sometimes. Vegas is wrong. Bettors are wrong. But the fact that they're putting his number out there in the 50s tells you they think he's not going to be a decoy.
Yeah,
he's going to be somebody that's going to be playing, and he's going to be playing his usual complement of snaps, getting the targets, even against a tough matchup with guys like Devin White, Levante David, the best linebacker duo in football. No safety, Antoine Winfield. They think he's going to be able to take advantage of some mismatches. And assuming, he doesn't re-aggravate his injury, he should be good to go tonight.
Yeah, so that's good stuff there. Definitely got at least, if it's not a quote unquote good game, it's a good game in name and storyline. At least. Before we get to our picks, Kyle, you want to fire up some of these questions? We got a lot of questions here in the chat. We want to.
I know people are letting them rip. I'll start running through them. We can. I didn't realize how much of a pile we had going on. So let's let them rip. Should I start Daniel Jones over Brady? I think
I am.
I think so, and I think the thing is, I do like this matchup for Brady. Right, we've seen the Ravens secondary not really able to get up to speed to where they were 2 years ago. They look much more like they did last year, but like at some point, the offense has to have control of what is going on. And we know that offenses are generally more predictive than the defense they're playing, right? It's the year of our Lord 2022. That's just how football works. Offenses control the state of the game. Bucs haven't done anything. I mean, they've already been held under, 23 points this year, more times than they were the entirety of last year by like 1 or 2 games. Like this offense is just downright dreadful. The offensive line isn't producing. Brady's 40. What is he, 43 now? Like it wouldn't be a surprise for him to slowly start
43. He's 45.
Is he really 45?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That man is
Why is he playing football? Stop it, Tom.
He's about to be over the hill any day now.
Oh my God.
He old enough to have grown kids out here.
Yeah,
he's old enough to have grandkids in some cases.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He's older than I thought. Yeah.
So would you go Brady over Daniel Jones versus that Seahawk defense this week?
No, I'm going Daniel Jones.
Chasing points. I'm chasing them points from last week. Dan, I ain't expecting 100 rushing yards from Danny Dimes again, but he gonna run for about 50.
Yeah,
he gonna run about 50. What you think, Johnny? Who you like, Brady or Danny Dimes?
You know what? Jason brings up a good point here because I have Brady in a couple leagues myself, and I'm like, at what point am I going to finally pull the plug on this guy? And it sucks because I hate the short week, and I got Goff and Cousins on my bench in a couple of them. And I'm thinking about it, and I gotta say,
Goff game looks fun.
You got to at least go. You definitely going Cousins. I know you doing that.
Yeah. I'm going Cousins. But I think Daniel Jones here. I'm with you, man. Chase those points because let's say Tom Brady has a big one, and we all know Mike Evans should have caught that 65-yard walk-in touchdown.
Change the whole narrative.
A lot of matchups for everybody, including two of my own.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Daniel Jones, he's built in with that floor, that rushing. Let's say he gets 50, 60 yards. That's 5-6 points. He sneaks in a tutty. That's 11, 12 points right there. Anything he gives you through the air, maybe a touchdown, 175 yards passing. That's a good game.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Exactly. And especially depending on how your roster is constructed, you just need a guy that's going to get you 18, 19 because you got the rest of your horses putting up a solid meaty 120 on your way to a nice dub. How you doing?
There you go. So there you go, Jason, the whole panel on Danny Dimes there. We got Richard England here. Defense has scored a decent amount in my league, and my 2 defense are the Bucs. And then, in the Ravens. Who do I start? I'm going to be real. The Ravens get no pressure up front on defense. Tampa Bay's going to sack Lamar at least 2 times, which ain't a lot, right? But I could count on that way more than the Ravens sacking somebody. They're just simply not doing that. Like I mentioned before, the past 4 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks, Lamar's QB rating against the blitz is a 23. I would go the Bucs defense, and if you know me, you know I don't even want to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to either, but so much of what I think about when defense is just like, who does Vegas think is going to score more points? Like there are extraneous circumstances where like, some bad quarterback is going to throw a lot of attempts. Maybe you want to take like when Matt Ryan was playing. Matt Ryan's small home favorite, sure. You could probably still play against him. But in this spot, when it's just 2 teams facing each other straight up, I'm just going to take the one that's supposed to score. Their opponent is supposed to score fewer points. So I'll take the Bucs too. I don't want to face Lamar. It's terrifying. That's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah.
I hate keeping it, the same as everybody, but I think the Bucs is the play here. I bench Baltimore in all my leagues. Simple fact is the Ravens, for as good as Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters is supposed to be, they're either still having tough time recovering from their serious injuries from last year, but they were never 4-3 guys. They were 4-5 guys. They have trouble matching up with speedy receivers. And guess what? Especially if Julio plays and he's solid, Godwin looks good. Guess what? Go try and cover him in the slot. I think the Bucs are the right team to start here.
Here's an ugly one. We got Gus Edwards playing tonight.
Are we talking about George Foreman here or
it's got to be Deonta.
Deontay Foreman? There's those two different guys. You don't want to start George.
I don't. I would have said going into last week, you probably don't want to start Deonta either. He looks like a committee back on a terrible offense. They go out and rout the Bucs. The running game put up, I think, like over 200 yards or something. And now it doesn't look like Chuba Hubbard's going to play. I don't think he has practiced back-to-back days. You're getting the bulk of the backfield. It's gross. I would almost under any circumstance say you don't want to play Panthers players. They looked they didn't look all right. They looked great last week. Yeah. I'm sort of regressing that in my brain to saying they can't have looked that good. They did. I'm sort of saying they split the difference. They're probably not the worst team. And if Foreman's going to get all the touches, I think I want to gamble on Hubbard not playing. Foreman gets them all.
I would say definitely gamble. Now, if you gamble, you just know it's going to be a committee. The Falcons are also the 9th best team against running backs in fantasy. However, they're giving up 5.5 catches and 39 yards to running backs per game. So they're good against the run, but they'll give it up to the backs in the passing game. I would probably gamble on Foreman too, just based on the potential volume. Gus Edwards came back strong last week, but he got them 2 touchdowns. That kind of bolstered him. Gus Edwards always going to have a chance to score a touchdown because of that offense. Well, they could get to the red zone. I don't know how they're going to perform when they get there, but they going to get there. But it's close. I'll go Foreman, though.
All right, deal. We'll start rapid fire in these because I know people are probably waiting. Like literally the questions we're on are from as soon as the stream fired up. So we'll try and rip a few. Jacoby Myers or Brandon. Spelled both the first name wrong. So you got to be
Yeah.
I'll go with Brandon Cooks too.
Johnny.
Yeah. Cooks.
DPJ or Bateman. I'm going to go Bateman here. I like, Bateman. Especially with the small chance, medium chance, not a small chance, that Mark Andrews, he doesn't have to be a decoy, but it's just not 100% of himself. I'd want a guy with the potential of picking up some of those targets, especially if they end up throwing deeper instead of throwing the more medium stuff to Mark Andrews.
I'm against you guys here. I'm going DPJ. I love his usage. I love the numbers he's putting up, and he's the focus of the Browns pass game. Against a Cincinnati team that doesn't really have great corners right now, I'm going with DPJ.
Dang, what about Amari Cooper? Oh, man. He just phased Amari Cooper out of the offense here.
In one fell swoop, Amari Cooper was forgotten forevermore.
He looks good, man. He looks good.
Well, this one here, Joe Petrino, that is way too close to Joe Paterno. But anyway, didn't DeAndre Swift got a full practice today, right?
That is correct. So
better play. That's all I know.
Say what?
We need him back. We need him back.
Better play. He gets one boo-boo. He's out for 6 years. Meanwhile, Dalvin Cook and his entire arm could come off his body. He'll throw it in a sling, get 40 carries 3 days later on short rest.
I need DeAndre Swift to come back and be extremely efficient as well. Here, I would rock with Gus Edwards on this one because Swift is coming back. Christian Kirk coming off of a decent game, but now going against the Denver Broncos in a London game with the low over-under. Patrick Surtain is that boy over there. You know what I'm saying? So give me Gus Edwards on this one.
I like it. And, we just praised Daniel Jones, but easy, chill, Chris.
We ain't going to do that. We're not going to do that, Chris Garcia.
We like Daniel Jones. We don't love Daniel Jones. Let's not carried away here. Which 2 wide receivers?
I get it, though. I get it. Daniel Jones has been statistically better the past 2-3. He definitely was better when they played the Ravens. So, I get it. But, Lamar could have that 4 or 5 touchdown game. You know the rules.
Which 2 wide receivers to start? Bateman, Sutton, or Pickens? Man, I like every single week someone asks a Broncos question, and you can immediately see the color drain out of my face as I become increasingly distraught. I'm going to go with Bateman, and I'll go with
You go with Sutton because
I'm still gonna go
Wilson
Sutton.
coming back.
I'm still gonna go Bateman.
I don't think that's an upgrade though.
At this point, feels
No,
like
well, Cortland Sutton didn't do anything when Brett Rippon was in the game.
Yeah.
They both gave you the same result.
That's because he got Sauce Gardner on him.
he got the Sauce treatment.
Yeah, he doesn't got Sauce treatment this week. But I think Pickens has the Darius Slay treatment, which is why it could be a bigger problem for George Pickens.
Sutton, so it sounds like Sutton Bateman for you.
Yeah. So Sutton Bateman. Yeah.
All right, we're all Sutton Bateman, Wandale or Dubs. Dude, I am 100% sure when Aaron Rodgers said that they may need to be cutting some reps back from some players and giving some other players reps, he was talking about Romeo Doubs. Who else would he have been talking
wasn't
about?
Talking about AJ Dillon?
Maybe it could have been AJ Dillon.
Oh my God.
That dude is like he running back 50 right now in fantasy. Come on, AJ Dillon. Give us Wandale Robinson, man. I mean, not there's Tony one playing anyway, but they playing the Seahawks defense. Giants is, I don't know, I guess they rolling. If Saquon have a good game, it's gonna be a good day for the Giants.
All right. Yeah, I agree. We want to get Wandale in there.
8 targets for 6 catches last game for Wandale Robinson.
Nice. We got Tua over Lamar. I still don't think. I think Lamar's still a top 3 quarterback. We're getting in the right direction though. I have Tua very highly ranked this week, but like Lamar gives you 300, 100 potential, and he's like the only quarterback who's ever done that multiple times, even, and he's only 3 or 4. So
I got a roster with both of them, and I'm itching, my finger itching, but
don't do it.
I'm gonna leave my boy in there today, but Tua my boy too, so. It was tough, but I'm sticking with Lamar. What you think about this? You probably going Lamar too, right, Johnny?
Yeah, listen, it's got to be Lamb Jack all the way because I think he's still going to find a way to put up some numbers, even on a Bucs defense that hasn't been as good this year, but they still overall are a good defense. I think they're going to find a way, put up 24 points. Lamar should have 60 rush yards, 230 pass yards, sneak a couple tutties in there, have ourselves a 20-point day, keep it moving.
Please.
All right, Johnny, run it back. K. Dotton, is he going to score tonight and get me 20 points? It's
20. Now you asking for a lot.
Even with a touchdown, you're not looking at 20. Listen, is he going to score tonight? I'll pull up his odds for a touchdown.
You know what? Yeah, I think K. Dotton gets in the end zone. I think he gets a nice 6 catches for 45 yards and a tutty. He's going to sneak in the back of the end zone when Tom Brady's looking for somebody, can't find anybody. And I think he's going to be the second touchdown scored tonight, with Leonard Fournette being the third. And we'll get to who's the first.
It's interesting. You said 6 catches for 45 and full PPR.
Still
that's
16.
10.5 points. So this guy need 20. So
he's going to get 16. He's going to get 16 and a half.
With the TD, he gets to 16 and a half. Right. But that's still not 20.
Jimmy, I hope 16 is enough for you. That's how much he's gonna get tonight. 16, not 20. But 16 that's great for K. Otten.
Yeah, you don't need him to get all the
money at this position.
Yeah. You better be happy with 10 points.
I know you really would.
Get your projection.
All right, let's jump here to McLaurin. Start 3: McLaurin, Sutton, Wandale, or Latavius Murray. I'm not starting Latavius Murray, and it's of course I'm not starting Latavius Murray. I would go McLaurin, Sutton, and Wandale.
Yeah, give me the same.
It's almost the question we already answered once you knock out Latavius
Murray. Give me the same. Latavius, not yet. Not yet.
Every time I look at the Broncos games, Latavius Murray carrying the ball, not Melvin Gordon.
The thing is, that team is so bad that you don't like their running backs. One of their running backs either has to be Javonte Williams, who's really good, is not playing anymore, or has to get all the touches. I thought maybe Melvin Gordon would get all the touches once Javonte Williams went down. Turns out he got none of them briefly. So I don't want to play any of them. Stream, Jets, Titans, or Dolphins defense. I don't even know who these teams play.
I want to thank you, Admiral Nita, for providing us with the matchups here. I had no clue who these teams was playing at all. With that being said, I like
these are their next week.
Oh, that's next week. That's next week. I'll tell
Admiral,
you, the Jets.
Admiral, I'm sorry. I just took the L right there.
Rescind the thank you. In fact, I don't remember the Jets play. I know the
Jets
Titans
play the Pats. The Jets play the Pats.
And Titans play the Texans. Dolphins play the Lions.
Oh, he's asking us for week 9.
I don't know. I don't know which one
because
he
he's
wants.
certainly not thinking about starting the Jets versus Buffalo.
It's
gotta
whatever
be-
it is. If it's for this week, it's Titans. If it's for next week, it's Miami versus Chicago. Obviously,
If it's this week, it's Jets. I'm taking Jets.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the
against-
Jets here
against
at
Pats.
home versus Mac Jones. He ain't ready for that action. He ain't ready for Sauce and DJ Reed on the corners.
All right, Demont or Kareem Hunt. I'm gonna go with Kareem Hunt here. Khalil Herbert's usage last week really shook me off of like ever playing David Montgomery again. I mean, Kareem Hunt probably has the same or less usage, but it's on an offense I want to be playing pieces of.
Kareem
What
Hunt,
I'm about
man,
to say, what about Kareem Hunt's usage? He almost has none. It looked like they got him on the Kadarius Toney plan right now.
Early in the year, for the first like 6 weeks, I believe, he had more red zone touches than Nick Chubb, and he was scoring on them too. So I'm not going to buy a ton of what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. A little scared, to be fair. I'm a little scared of it.
But I mean,
Kareem
David
Hunt's-
Montgomery gonna get 15 touches. Kareem Hunt, he's got 10 the past 2 games combined.
Are you team Dave Montgomery then?
I only be.
The problem is, okay, so Chicago's 9.5, 10-point dogs to Dallas on the road. So they're probably going to have to be throwing a lot in catch-up mode. Now, which running back is going to be used out of the backfield on the 2-minute drill, the hurry-up offense, playing down from behind 17 points? Is it going to be David Montgomery? It's probably more like Khalil Herbert.
Well, that's who it should be, but I don't know. I don't think they've come to that conclusion yet. But that's who it should be.
I think
Kareem Hunt, this is probably his last game as a Brown, most likely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
The Eagles are making inquiries here. So I think actually with that being said, I actually will go Montgomery here. And the reason is because we know what his usage is. And because if the Browns are serious about trading Hunt, that means they're probably not going to play him much this week because the deadline is coming up. They do not want to risk him getting hurt. That's my take on it. If they ship him out, they do not want to risk playing him.
All right, let's move to Swift, Edwards, Henderson. Assuming Swift nothing comes up in practice, like I don't care if he's on it like a snap count or whatever. I want to be playing that guy. He's like one of the most electric running backs. He's playing like peak Alvin Kamara when he's playing, which hasn't been the most often, but it's Swift for me.
Yeah, give me Swift here. We don't have to stay on this one too long. After we answer this one here for Mr. Leo Hernandez, we'll get back into a couple of our picks here for tonight's Thursday night game. Pat Freiermuth or Cade Otton, Mr. Dvorchak. How do you feel about them?
I think I'm gonna go Cade Otton. I think this is a better. I think anytime you have Tom Brady versus Kenny Pickett, assuming their roles are similar, and Cade Otton ran the majority of the routes last week. Assuming the roles hold similar, I just want to be taking the guy with Tom Brady as quarterback. Even as washed as Brady has looked, they are still passing at one of the highest rates over expected in the league. They are still facing a defense that is a pretty good matchup. And Kenny Pickett has just really struggled. He just can't take care of the ball, frankly. I don't think he's that inaccurate. It's just when he is inaccurate, he's off by a lot. So I'll go with Cade.
Yeah, we got Cade Otton here in the 2 full games he played so far, 64 yards and 43 yards and 7 and 5 targets respectively in those said games. So with that being said, props to back. We kind of alluded to this earlier. The first one I'll bring up here is one that I'm going to back is Lamar Jackson over 215 and a half passing yards at minus 110. Now, he hasn't done this since week 2 versus the Dolphins, where he just went berserk because he had to, because Tua was doing the same thing. He's had a bunch of, very Justin Fields like type of passing games for 5 weeks in a row. And I'll give him 215 here simply because, and it's not even deep. We talked about it earlier. Sean Murphy Bunting, Carlton Davis, and Antoine Winfield out of there. Lamar got to step up against the blitz tonight, and I think that he will. He was pissed off that they didn't throw the ball a lot last game. I mean, for what it's worth, 120 passing yards it's okay for 16 attempts, I guess. So I'm looking for him to at least get that this game.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. If we're going passing props, let's stick with Tom Brady, 300 plus yards. He gave this out on Battle of the Bets. It's plus 130 when I last checked. I don't know. I actually don't feel supremely confident that the Bucs win this game. If we get to
Really?
talking about, they have played so bad all year. The only thing I can hang my hat on is they're still playing mostly smart football. They are still one of the highest pass rate over expected teams, and that makes sense when Leonard Fournette is giving you nothing on the ground. Your offensive line has been, egregious, and you have really good options for Brady to quick hit throw to. And this has been since Mike Evans and Chris Godwin came back. Before that, I don't really want to rely on those stats too heavily because they had no options. They were just screwed no matter what, When Brady shows up with Russell Gage as the top receiver, you're probably just going to lose that.
You're right. Right. And what you said about Fournette not giving you something on the ground, maybe he'll give you something in the air. That brings us to Johnny V's one of his props. He's back in the night. Let us have it.
Look at Lawrence just teeing me up, just model. That's just beautiful. Okay, let's go. So listen, so one of the reasons why I think Tampa Bay has been successful in some regards is because they've been getting Leonard Fournette the ball in space, out on the edge through the pass game. Baltimore's bottom 5 in the league in allowing receptions to running backs as well as yards. So I think this is a perfect spot for Leonard Fournette to get 4 catches. It's a little juicy. It's a juice latte, minus 155, the over 3.5. But I think this is a good look, as well as his over 27.5 yards. And I think Fournette's going to have a big game. This is one where I could see him getting like 6-7 catches for like 60 yards, maybe a touchdown. And he's going to have a big game through the air because that's how the Tampa Bay offense is going to be able to move the chains while they're trying to get Mike Evans and Chris Godwin going.
They've done that a lot in these games and peppering Leonard Fournette with targets. So just roll off that one and give us the prop on Fournette that you're fading.
Fading, meaning I like to go the other way. I'm taking the under 82.5 rushing and receiving yards at minus 120, meaning I think he's going to go over this because I think the receiving yards is going to be at least 50 tonight. So I would look at an all. I think he's going to have a big game there. And the rushing, you think he's going to get at least 15 carries. He's a guy who's been getting over 20 carries in half the games this season. So that means he only has to get roughly 35 yards on the ground, which I think he's capable of. This is not the same Baltimore defense we watched growing up. They let Wink Martindale go, and they are paying for it right now.
It's crazy how they just let the wrong coordinator go, like literally the wrong one. Imagine they let go of the right one. He'd be on the Giants right now running that offense. Actually, no, because they would still have Dable, so it's cool. They would still have Dable.
The thing is, they let Wink go after the Ravens had been a dominant defense year in, year out, year in, year out.
They were hurt.
And everyone gets hurt.
COVID and injuries. What do you expect? Like, they literally lost 5 keys of their defense. It's just
unbelievable.
It's horrendous. It's horrendous.
They lost 2 former All-Pro corners, and they were down to, I believe, in some games they were starting cornerbacks 5 and 7 on their roster.
Practice squad guys.
Yeah, legit guys who are getting called up, and those guys.
And they were getting hurt.
And after all that, they looked at that and they're like, "What was the problem here? What went wrong?" And they're like, "Wait, you gotta go."
You know what's crazy? Actually, their run defense was top 3 last year. They had a great run defense. I mean, part of it was because everybody was passing on them.
You're right. Everybody was letting it fly.
But I mean, what do you expect? They should have threw me, you, and Kyle out there. We would have had just as much chance of success as these other guys would have.
I'd have pulled that hammy and been on the IR too. What are you fading?
Well, I was going to say, if you are interested in Leonard Fournette finding success, I think the opposite of that, in some sense, should probably be Rachaad White not being particularly involved. And Rachaad White, 16.5 receiving yards, minus 120 to the under. To me, I guess you'd say I'm fading this over. I'm just fading him as a player this week. We've seen some successful games from Rachaad White, but the bulk of the times we've actually seen him get in were like the blowout versus Kansas City. The scoreboard doesn't particularly look like a blowout versus the Falcons, but that was almost entirely garbage time production from Atlanta. That was the game actually where I think they let Chris Godwin sit out the second half because it was not particularly close.
Yeah,
looks closer on the scoreboard, but when they've been in close games, we haven't seen a ton of Rachaad White. The one thing Leonard Fournette still does well is catch passes out of the backfield. I don't know if how much of his struggling rushing production is him being like a 28 or 29-year-old running back. with a history of like modest
Little
injuries, or if it's the
line
offensive
just
line.
Line bad.
Yeah, but I got to be honest. I watch the Bucs every week.
He's a little
Fournette,
sluggish.
Fournette looks a little slow, man.
He
I mean,
looked
he's
pretty
always been a
good.
bigger.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't know if he picked up an injury or what it is. He looks a little slow. He looks like he's lost half a step in the last 6 weeks. He might be fighting an injury. Maybe it's just because the line's not giving him enough room. But something looks a little bit off about the Lenny we saw in Week 1, where he gassed the Cowboys.
Yeah, right. And,
Either way,
it should be noted too that Rachaad White did play a season high 44% of the snaps in Week 7.
Oh, you mean a game they got destroyed in? Huh.
Yeah,
Seems
go.
to be a trend.
Now, Kyle, it's crazy about the prop that you're backing, the Tom Brady plus 300, because when you look at his past few games, 351, 290, 285, you could clearly see that coming, right? Especially against the Ravens defense. But I actually got him going under 285 and a half. This is why. Although the Ravens defense breaks down in that fourth quarter and this whole team just blows the lead, they haven't given up 285 passing yards since week 3 versus Mac Jones. And in that game, Mac Jones threw 3 picks. Now, they did play Daniel Jones in that time. They played Jacoby Brissett, but they also played Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, who both threw for under 220 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And they could run. In Josh Allen's case, really good. Tom Brady, not so much there. So I found that stat interesting. And I said, you know what? If Mac Jones is the last person to throw for 285 yards on this defense, give me that Tom Brady under on 285 and a half. That's just looking at that stat made me want to go that way with that one.
I was going to say, Johnny, break our tie on do we back or fade Tom Brady, but then you nodded a little bit when Lawrence said we're going under, and now I feel afraid to ask you because you might say you're against me, but I'm going to ask you, do we like Tom Brady against or over his prop?
There's just so much personal bias with fantasy and stuff like that, and I have like my own bets on Tom Brady for season long, but I think Lawrence did a real good job breaking down why. He went back to the past matchups with some of the other quarterbacks who have actually had success this year, like a Josh Allen, like a Patrick Mahomes. I think he's on the right track here, because while Baltimore's defense struggles against receivers, they more so struggle with the Tyreek Hill type, the greasy speed. Evans is fast and he's a deep threat. Godwin, more slot, but he could get down the field. I think they could end up having a little bit more success against those guys than a Tyreek Hill. So I think Brady probably notches in at 280 tops. And I think it's going to be a lot of checkdowns. Brady has had a lot of trouble getting the ball downfield. Aside from that Mike Evans drop last week, it's been a lot of checkdowns. Just everybody get yards after the catch and chew some clock. So I think the under is a good look. I really like how he broke that down.
You guys want to touch on some touchdown props, then rip some more questions?
Yeah.
We'll get with it. Well, let's go touchdowns here real quick and go to the questions then. Who do you got there, my man Kyle?
Well, I'll throw this one to Johnny because I had anytime touchdown score for, coincidentally, I believe the same person he has first touchdown score. I thought
were you going to say it? I want to say it. Can I say it?
Go for it.
All right, first tutty for his first touchdown of the season. It's going to be Mr. Chris Godwin out of the slot. We know how much Brady loves to target this guy. He is when Godwin is in the lineup, the offense looks completely different. He does so many things, pre-snap motions, dictate coverages. So I think Godwin's going to find success. His first touchdown of the season comes tonight in the form of the first touchdown scored. How you doing?
Man, I sure hope
this will be the first touchdown. I know he's been a little banged up.
I know. I hope that happens. I threw in Gus Edwards there at plus 900 for the for the first touchdown, just on the chance that the Ravens get to the goal line and don't fumble. So that's cool. We could get back to some more of these questions real quick.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to find there. We have so many. I'll try and rapid fire through these. I don't want you feeling like you're getting hung out to dry. Let's just a Brady washed, a casual Brady washed in the chat. So let's see here. I think we got one here. First time watcher. Thanks for joining in. Godwin or Leonard. I'm gonna go Chris Godwin. I want the guy. If we're betting on both to catch a lot of passes, right?
Yeah.
Give me the guy. We're putting money on to score touchdowns anyways. First touchdown specifically, but I have any time. I think it was plus 150, plus 155 for Godwin.
155. It looks like you put him at. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I don't mind Leonard Fournette's odds either, but to me, I'll take the guy getting farther downfield in a game that should be passing a lot. So I like Godwin here.
Give me Godwin. I got him on every fantasy team. Let's go, baby.
I got Leonard on fantasy. I got Leonard, man. I got Leonard because I think Fournette is going to be good for, I would say, 20 to 25 touches tonight overall. And I think Godwin probably is good for 8 to 9 catches, but I'm going to go with Leonard.
He's going to get that touchdown, though. Godwin.
They're both going to get touchdowns.
That's true. I said that, and I was like,
they're both going to get touchdowns.
All right, top to Gus Edwards, James Robinson. I'm not playing James Robinson this week. He's getting he'll get more practice than McCaffrey got, but let me see it first. That's all.
Yeah, I gotta see that first. We saw Gus Edwards. If this was last week, we all would have started James Robinson, right? Who got 0 points, and Gus Edwards got the 2 touchdowns. We would have been hurting. But tonight, we going with Gus.
Here we go. Another tight end question involving Cade Otton. Cade Otton or
you got Smith. This one.
I think I'm going to go Cade Otton. I think I'm just going to roll Cade Otton here.
Even with that Vikings 49 total, Arizona.
I like the passing output here. I was voted down for the Tom Brady prop, so maybe that's where my bias comes from, is that I like Tom Brady to not only get over his prop, but I took over 300. I was like alt line, so that's why I'm probably on Cade Otton, because I like the passing attack. But if you guys don't, I would see.
I ain't mad at it.
No, hang on. I want to point something out here, and it's going to reflect what in my plays for the weekend when I get them out. The Arizona Cardinals are playing the Minnesota Vikings, and for whatever reason the Arizona Cardinals have had success doing this year, as opposed to last year, is taking alpha wide receiver ones out of the game. Cooper Kupp, 3 of the last 4 regular season games, under 65 yards. Devontae Adams got completely taken out this year. A.J. Brown, after the first drive, completely taken out. So I think Justin Jefferson not having a huge game is definitely in play here. And I hate to say it because I love me some Justin Jefferson. But if he's taken out, that means somebody else is going to have to step in. It's going to have to be Thielen. It's going to have to be Osborne, Cook out of the backfield, Irv Smith eating up those linebackers. So that is something I would look out for. I don't hate the Irv Smith theory this weekend. This is one where I think he's going to break double digits because I feel like Justin Jefferson's going to be bracketed, and I would take his under on yards as well. So I would probably lean Otton just a little bit more, but I do like the Irv Smith. So I think you're in a good position either way.
All right. This is a funny question in a way that things are sad and funny. Someone traded Chase for a lot. Chase obviously is hurt. When you're going to miss him for the next 6 weeks, which is most of the fantasy regular season, their season's kind of over, as this person points out. What should happen?
What do you mean what should happen? The dude who got the haul, he got the haul. What do you mean?
Yeah, someone. It sucks that it happens, but that's life. Sometimes life just sucks. Nothing should happen.
That's fantasy right there. That's classic fantasy right there.
Just how it be sometimes. Deonta Foreman, Bateman, or Kirk. I'll go with Bateman here. I think this is a decent spot for Bateman to blow up.
Give me Bateman too. Again, I'm gonna just keep riding the no DBs out there. Johnny V, if you can name these Tampa Bay DBs, I'll go with your pick.
Who's out? Carlton Davis,
Rondé Barber.
Rondé Barber. I gotta be honest. I don't even know who they're running. Who's out? It's Carlton
That's
Davis.
Who it is tonight.
Bunting. Yeah, dude. I gotta be honest, man. Off the top of my head, I can't think of their DBs.
So they got their 2 corners out in their safety, so they'll be subbing in Rondé Barber, John Lynch. They might throw Derek Brooks in there too. The whole 9 yards. But no, who do you got though?
I got to be honest. I like Deontay Foreman against Atlanta. I think Atlanta's run defense is a little fugazi because they're going up against a lot of teams that are airing it out on them. I'm not taking away the concepts they're doing, but as you know, they also traded Deion Jones, their linebacker, who once upon a time was
stunk.
He did, but he still controlled a lot of things. They don't have Foye like last year. I think Foreman coming off a 15-carry, 118-yard game is exactly where I'm looking for. Carolina, if they want to win, they're going to have to pound the rock, and I think Foreman might fall in the end zone this weekend. I think he's in for a big week. And not saying Bateman isn't. I just coming off the injury, I don't know, man. I have to see it first.
Bateman just needs he got to get some targets, man.
That's what happens when you're going to have, he has like a 15-8 on in the year. Like some games, you just won't get those shots where you're open. And other games, you'll be Gabe Davis and you'll get 2 giant ones for 2 touchdowns. Do I stick with Andrews tonight or go with Dulcich? I mean, you're still going with Andrews. Like I like having Dulcich on my bench, but like it's, we haven't had any reports that Andrews is going to be a decoy. Sure, he's probably banged up. But as we pointed out, how many, you say they attempted like 19, 20 passes last week, Lawrence?
Yeah,
like it,
not even.
like, yeah, it wasn't like they threw 40 times and Andrews couldn't get home. They didn't throw a lot. Team scheme to take Andrews away. I think obviously that's the worst we'll see from him. So I'm not this level of concerned.
Let me ask you a question. Billy, think about this yourself. Let's say you sit Andrews tonight and he goes off for 20. You're going to feel sick. You're going to be sick to your stomach. You're going to call out of work tomorrow or school, whatever. I think you got to roll with your horses here. You got to live and die by your horses.
Well, here's a good one to test that theory. Do we roll with our horses on Kyle Pitts over Hayden Hurst?
I'm off of this right here. I'm off of this.
I say no. I'm not doing it anymore. You can't make me go back.
I talked about this way too much yesterday and the week before. I'll say this. I'm starting him a lot, but I'm not advising that you do that. I'm not advising you do that.
I'm not starting Kyle Pitts. Nope.
No, Hayden Hurst. Yeah.
I'm starting Hayden Hurst. Listen, Jamar Chase gone. There's going to be a lot of targets vacated. It's going to be Boyd, T. Higgins, maybe Hurst in the red zone. Yeah, I'm going with Hayden Hurst. Absolutely.
All right, here we go. We got Devin Singletary, Rashad Bateman. I like Singletary. He's getting.
Now I won't go Bateman here. I won't go Bateman this time.
Yeah. We found the breaking point for both Lawrence and I. Devin Singletary getting like the vast majority of the running back snaps on one of the best teams. I get they don't actually run the football that much. That's fine though. You just want him to be present and around and probably walk into the end zone.
He keep coming off a 17 carry 85-yard game. We'll rock with that, even if it's a little less than that.
Packers are one of the worst defenses against the run. They're getting absolutely gashed, and that's not including if Singletary gives you anything in the pass game. He's the red zone guy. So yeah, absolutely Singletary.
Johnny, you kind of alluded to this earlier. If Hunt traded, Judy for Kareem Hunt, I would probably keep Kareem Hunt. But it's because, especially what you said, you think Philly is a good, decent-looking landing spot in terms of the probability it happens.
From what I'm hearing, I think Philly is a likely spot. It definitely would make sense because Philly as a system has always gone multiple backs, and that would be great. But, there could be a dark horse in suit. Maybe the Rams want to go get Kareem Hunt. I don't know what they're going to give. They don't have any more picks left at Let's Need, but there could be somebody out there that is going for Kareem Hunt because you're going to get him on the cheap. You're probably not going to pay more than a 3rd or 4th round pick. He's not going to be an expensive running back. So I just have a problem with starting Kareem Hunt right now while the deadline's going on. It could backfire, but that's my theory, on top of the fact that he's not getting much usage. I think the two are correlated. So I think you just got to roll the dice and go Jerry Jeudy, hope he gets loose.
All right.
That is a very fair trade, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's tough. I can only have 4 running backs, Swift, Singletary, Gus Edwards, and Pacheco. Is there a world where you drop Pacheco or Edwards for single? No.
Nah.
Well, actually, there's something out there that James Cook in the second half might starting to be getting a little bit more involved in this offense. So I actually think Cook's a good stash. And as much as I love Pacheco, he's a big incubator guy, but I think we're just a year too early on him.
Having Cook and having Pacheco is the same thing to me.
Kind of, yeah.
It is these people had us tweeting in the morning, oh, Isaiah Pacheco started. But we knew he wasn't about to get 20 carries, but okay, you got your little 8 carry, man. Get out of here with that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire get all the touchdowns.
I know. It's still he's going to be going down to like 2 touches a game, and he'll still get a touchdown.
2 touchdowns. He's gonna get 2 touches and 3 touchdowns.
Here we go. Devin Duvernay tonight. I think is like an interesting DFS option, but I still want to be betting on Courtland Sutton. You would have to tell me Mark Andrews is truly beat up for me to go to the second. I believe will be the second receiver on this team.
Yes. Yeah. Devin Duvernay. We're going Courtland Sutton here.
We only got 1 or 2 more that we can give our stardom sit-ems, and we haven't actually made picks against the spread actually. And
that's because I'm nervous too. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. So which QB should I pick up? Stafford, Wilson, Lawrence, Merritt? Dude, I think.
Is this like a 3 super flex leaguers?
I personally want to be early. on Sam Ellinger. I think it's a hard G Ellinger, but he was like an elite rushing threat in college. Ran for nearly 2,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, ran for well over 100 in his 2 preseasons, not preseason appearances. Like, he's a legit runner. And with the system they were trying to run with Matt Ryan, like, it will help hide some of his flaws. So I kind of want to be early on him.
Well, it's certainly the week to do that. They're at home versus the Commanders, although this might be the lowest over-under of the weekend at 39.5. I would actually I'd actually go with Mariota. He's a quarterback. If you look at the production, he's a quarterback 1 in fantasy right now. Got a good matchup at home where they're almost 5-point favorites. They're not going to throw, which is okay when the quarterback runs the ball. He'll probably run for more yards than what he throws. So I will go there, but I'm not mad at taking the young buck versus the Commanders.
Johnny, Gus or Drake London?
I think Gus. I think Drake London.
We can't be starting these Falcons. We can't be doing it.
Don't be starting these Falcons except Marcus Mariota.
Mariota's only thrown the ball 27 times the last 2 weeks. So any pass catching options in Atlanta right now, it just ain't it, bro. I think we got to wait to see that happen. So we're going Gus Bus all the day. Ring the bell.
You've been our resident Rashad Bateman fader. The Bus or Bateman? Full PPR.
Gus Bus. I think he's in for 15 carries. Might sneak himself into the end zone. I think Bateman relies on the long play.
I think I'm gonna go Gus there too. Just got a better chance to score. Mm-hmm. This guy he's the Raven that has the best chance to score every game, even more than Mark Andrews, to be honest.
All right, let's throw out some start sets of our own players that we've decided that you should be playing or not. I will go first. I think you should be playing Kate Otten. He looks like he's going to run 70 to 80% of the routes on a team that will probably be forced to pass a pretty decent amount. And I've said already that I like this spot as a decent spot, at least for the numbers. I don't know if they actually win this game, but at least for the inflated statistics of Brady. So I'm going to tag along with his secondary pieces and force it. Like, if you somehow have or added Julio Jones, please God, do not play this guy whose most iconic move is coming back for 10 snaps and leaving.
But what he gonna get 100 yards in them 10 snaps? I'm telling you. So you remember that week 1? You remember that week 1?
I was excited for him after week 1.
That's what did it. He always gets hurt on those long catches. Do you remember? So he got hurt on the week 1 long catch, the 50-yarder. And then do you remember in 2013 when he was on a record-setting pace, he was going to become had the best season as a receiver against the Jets on that Monday night when he cooked Antonio Cromartie for that deep ball. That's where he broke his foot. So he always gets hurt on those deep balls.
And then the Falcons lost that game in true Falcon fashion.
Yeah, Gino was just nickel. Oh, bro, we can't relive it, man. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Who do you so you got Stidham for Julio. What about highest fantasy score?
Oh, highest fantasy score. I typically don't try and do quarterbacks. Like, obviously the right answer is Lamar. Yeah. Let's go with Chris Godwin. I like me some Chris Godwin tonight.
So besides quarterback, you'll say Chris Godwin. I like that. Stardom, I'm gonna go Rashad Bateman. Stidham, I'm gonna go Kenyon Drake. If just based on what I saw last week in the running back share and the carries, Kenyon Drake could take one of his 4 or 5 carries that he's gonna get in race for 60 yards, but I don't want to take that chance. I got the highest score as Lamar, but besides that, I probably would go Chris Godwin or Gus Edwards, one of the two. I like both of those guys tonight. If we gonna get DFS with it, so those are my plays there.
All right, Johnny, the spread. We have finally reached a 2.5 spread. It has, as you said, bounced between Tampa Bay, Baltimore, back to Tampa Bay. Do you have a take?
I'm just gonna put it on you.
All right, listen. I'll be honest with you guys.
I'm not answering them.
Since week one, I have just not, or week 2, I should say, I just cannot get on the same side as the Bucs. I don't even pick them as a survivor pick anymore. But if I had to go aside, even with the injuries, at home, Thursday night teams at home have a significant advantage, in my opinion. And I think the Bucs have to get back on track. It's been 20 years since they lost 3. Tom Brady's lost 3 in a row, and they're playing under a field goal right now. I think it's going to be a big factor. with Tampa Bay being able to do everything they want on offense. And let's call it what it is. Despite the fact that they don't look as good as they have been, the Ravens really do not look anything special. If it
Right.
means anything to you guys, if you believe in this kind of stuff, the Ravens have alternated wins and losses every week this season. Their last game was obviously a win, which would set it up for a loss in that case. But ultimately, I think the Bucs match up better, and I think everybody's going to have a bounce back game as a whole, even if the box scores aren't blowing up.
Lawrence,
Right.
are you've been I'd say the NBC's resident Ravens backer, and early in the year, you were obviously just at the bank every day, like, let me take out more, cashing. And now we've hit a bit of a slump. I kind of want to back the Ravens. I think the Bucs have been so trash this year.
So
But
yeah,
it's
it's
such
like
a
you
normal
kind of
take.
feeling the opposite of Johnny, because it's like one of these teams got to get back on track, right? But that swing back to the Bucs -2.5, that made me a little nervous. Then I was looking at my long shot bet, right? Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews to score plus the Ravens money line at +1,000. Those are great odds. You would, and we're talking about a Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
That bet scares me. That's my long shot bet. But I'm making it, and I'm taking Ravens money line. Let's go. Big trust, baby.
Let's go. I love it. The Ravens
The
have shown us
sharps-
something this year. The Ravens
The
have shown
sharps,
us,
though.
yeah,
The
that money has been
sharps,
coming
the
on.
sharps
Bucs.
are on the Bucs, and let me tell you something. The public does win sometimes, but that's where all this movement's coming from. A lot of people, that are throwing high stake bets, are throwing it on Tampa Bay. Typically, you like to be on those guys' sides, the ones that are throwing big money, the ones that are moving lines, aka the sharps. So just to clarify,
You don't think my $10 big enough?
I think you got to be throwing at least $15 bets in order to
At least
in order
15.
to,
I
at least
give them
15.
13 in the middle.
All right, Johnny.
12.50. Yeah.
Johnny, I believe did this open at like 44.5? I know at some books I think it was 44.5. Now we're up to 46 on the dot.
Mhm.
Any take on that? I know both these teams, Baltimore on the road, last 18 games, 13-5 toward the under. Straight up for Tampa Bay, not on the road, just home or road, under 14-7. Both these teams, I mean, it kind of makes sense with the Bucs. Like, of course, anything that involves their past, 7 games, going to look like a lot of unders there. And Baltimore, kind of the same, especially with the more recent sample. So, any takes on this at 46 on the dot?
Nah, I'm not a big total guy, to tell you the truth, unless something I see is a clear mismatch. Typically, primetime games have been a lot closer this year, so the unders would suggest that. But I do think this is going to be something where it's going to be around 45. I don't think it's going to be a game like last week where a couple pick sixes turn the dynamic of the game around. I think it's going to settle right around 45 points. So it's going to be really close, but I wouldn't give an official play on this one.
Lawrence, any take?
And yeah, like you say, man, in the 20s, I remember Johnny earlier saying, he can see the Ravens getting in the 20s. And if he likes the Bucs to win, then they obviously have to get in the 20s, probably, one in the mid 20s, one in the low 20s. So see something like that. Neither offense has been lighting it up for us to think this could be the 30-30 type of game. So, but then again, it's the NFL. So
like a 24-21 Bucs game. Bucs win 24-21 type of game.
He think Justin Tucker gonna miss that field goal to win the game?
No, I don't think he's going to get the field goal chance.
He ain't gonna get the chance.
He's not going to get the chance.
Sorry if I mispronounced,
dig
but Acerus K. I assume the K is
Asterisk.
capitalized because it's a different part. You have to say it separately. It says
Asterisk.
15-5 primetime games going under. 5 even feels generous. These primetime games have been brutal.
Think we'll get a good one tonight.
All right. Any final takes, Lawrence? I like the long shot. Johnny, you have any long shots? Have any final takes for the game? Fantasy, DFS, let them rip.
All right, here we go. We're doing a nice 5-team same game parlay. Let's go. Chris Godwin, anytime tutty, obviously, along with Leonard Fournette. We're throwing it all over 41.5 because I think it closes at about 45 in a total points. Ravens plus 9.5. I think another alt spread. I think they keep this close, but they're not really in a position to win the game. Brady, 250 plus passing yards. I think he ends about 265. And that is for plus 1050 on BetMGM. If that cashes, I'm not showing up tomorrow. Check that. I'm off on Fridays anyway. Everybody, have a good evening.
There it is for Johnny TV, for Lord Don't Lose, and for myself at Kyle Tweets here, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back here Monday for Monday Night Football.